Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the kitchen. I am meal prepping and I figured I would hop on and do a video. I hope you've been enjoying my Godzilla content. I know I've been coming with a lot of it lately. There's going to be more of it, so if you are here for Godzilla stuff, stay tuned. There will be more. Okay. So interestingly, I wanted to talk about mental health. You're probably like, I'm not surprised. But mental health-wise, when I go to therapy, which I've attended about 50 therapy sessions so far, been a great help for me. I have this scale with my therapist that I go over where I talk about my mental health on a scale from 0 to 10. 0 being I'm absolutely dismal, 10 being I'm fabulous. So it's usually a good way to begin my conversations with my therapist because then she knows where I'm at in my headspace. Today, for me, I'm at an 8.5, which is pretty good, all things considered. Probably attributed to the fact that I've been very productive. I woke up early this morning, which in the summertime is rare for me. I'm not a morning person. Had my coffee. I went for a 4.5-mile walk. I played Pokemon Go while I did it. Got to see some lovely nature. Came home, worked on some emailing correspondence for a while, worked on some school stuff in general, and I've been working on some YouTube stuff. And now I took a shower. I am now meal prepping. Like, all in all, when it comes to working through mental health, that level of productivity is a pretty good thing. But it's funny, though, because I measure my self-worth based on that productivity. And this is a symptom of a bigger problem that I wanted to talk about that I've been discovering through therapy. And I think this is why I love therapy so much, is because it kind of helps me make sense of these different things that I never really considered when it comes to how my mind works. So I have discovered that I have a very transactional relationship when it comes to self-worth. I calculate my self-worth based on productivity numbers, kind of like it's some sort of business marketing thing. So let me provide some context. You all know, based on the fact that you've been here for a while, that I was bullied a lot when I was a kid and a teenager, and I often was overlooked, minimized, erased, ignored, made to feel less than. And at that point in my life, I really struggled with being seen until I went to college, when I found outlets and ways in which I could put myself out there and be seen, YouTube being one of them. And quickly, because I had no other basis for how to measure self-worth, I essentially started thinking that my self-worth was measured by these numbers, by how many views I get, how many likes I get, how many people interact with me online. And as much as I love social media, I've always kind of had like this toxic connection with it, because it's how I've measured my self-worth. For example, like the last video I did, the last 10 kaiju questions video I did with Alyssa Goji Geek 101, it got 60 views, and that devastated me. Completely devastated me. I was a mess for a day or two because of it. Because to me, that horrible performance was just a reflection of, well, it kind of made me start repeating the words that so many people would say to me, those minimizing words, you know. Tomatoes from the garden, I'm super excited. So to add insult to injury, I look at like other people who do YouTube, like my friends who are Godzilla YouTubers, and they perform so much better than I do. I don't know, maybe like my insecurities tell me it's because they're more interesting or have better content. And then another part of my insecurities just say like, Donnie, you're a has-been, you always have been a has-been. I know those things are not true in my rational mind right now, but I've been kind of coaxed by my mind to say those things due to my history, because if my self-worth cannot be reflected in the numbers, then, well, you know, how is it going to be reflected? So, not a healthy mindset. Thankfully, I mean, my therapist has helped me identify when I do that, when I start thinking that way. Has a lot to do with negative core beliefs, and I'm trying to work through eliminating some of those negative core beliefs, but it's so difficult. It's really difficult, especially when so much of my self-worth is invested online, and the fact that I've had a toxic relationship with social media in the past. It's not something that I can just leave and call it quits, because so much of my limited extrovertedness that I have is invested in social media, because that's what's helped me feel comfortable over the years. But seeing all the work that I put into things and seeing very little result in the numbers, it destroys me. Now today, on a good mental health day like this, I look at those numbers and I'm like, you know what? That doesn't matter, because I love doing what I do. My creative outlets don't need to be measured based on numbers, based on likes, subscribers, views, etc. But at my worst, when I'm having a bad mental health day, I look at that and I'm like, you know, maybe I am irrelevant. Maybe I deserve to be minimized. You know, maybe I shouldn't do any of this. I've been working on learning how to talk myself through those things, but it's just interesting how, for those of us who have not had experiences with self-worth, how we finally learn how to create some form of self-worth, we find alternative ways, because we don't have like this storehouse within ourselves to manifest the self-worth. So we look for material ways of doing that, transactional ways of doing that, and for me it is social media interaction. So I just appreciate you listening, and I hope that this has been an interesting conversation. I'm gonna head off now and probably have a salad, because this is really making me hungry. In the comments, let me know how you've been doing, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye.